on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Mga kaibigan, ito po si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Norb Kawili, also known as Norbcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil-Am Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in. Phil-Am Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
Sediment cleanup of the lower Duwamish River has begun. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the members of the lower Duwamish Waterway Group, which includes King County, the City of Seattle, and Boeing, have begun sediment cleanup of the lower Duwamish Waterfall Superfund site. This important environmental project will address sediment pollution and help restore the health of the Duwamish River. Starting on the waterway's upper reach, construction activities extend from the South 102nd Street Bridge down straight to the Duwamish Waterway Park. Over the next 3 years, in-water activities will occur from October to February, ending in February 2027. Visit ldwg.org to learn about the upper reach cleanup and sign up for email updates.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time, and when I'm not hearing men compare women to residential real estate, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
It's 7 o'clock, and what a boring week. But we'll try and get through it somehow this hour. Just stay tuned. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am Pep, and my man L, as Dr. Harrell described him, is here. What's happening, L?
What up, Pep? How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Man.
You had a good weekend, didn't you?
I did.
Uh-huh.
Me and your boy MC, we went down to Portland and checked out a car show.
Nice.
Yep. So that was good. Had some good food. A couple of good breakfasts Saturday and Sunday.
I've seen that. Jealous.
Yes. So it was good. We had a good time. How about you? How was your weekend?
It was really chill. I tell you, I try to get in this second half of the NBA season. I try to watch as much NBA basketball as possible. So, that's something that I took time out of my weekend to do. And if you want to get right into it, Pep, there was some good basketball over this weekend in the NBA.
Yeah, because there ain't nothing really much else to talk about.
No,
so we might as well get right into the
NBA. It was some good matchups. Saturday we had the Lakers and the Celtics play in Boston. I heard that this is one of the most expensive tickets for a Boston Celtics game ever. We know a lot about that rivalry dating back to the 50s and 60s. So it was really
before my time.
Yeah, right. Just a little bit. It was a good game. Well, it wasn't a good game, and then it was. The Celtics did get up by 20. The Lakers did come roaring back and kind of made it respectable. But the bad news was LeBron James hurt his groin, and it looks like he's going to be out from 1 to 2 weeks. Shams out of ESPN tweeted.
Yeah, groin injuries, man. You gotta say it's going to be 2 weeks,
especially at 40. Remember, this is also an injury LeBron messed up last year, and he missed significant time. Now, luckily, he said last time he heard a pop. This time he didn't hear a pop. So hopefully, it's just something that he nurses and he can get back to those guys because they're in a stretch on the road right now, and they're going to need him. They just lost to the Brooklyn Nets today, who's tanking. So we just know how valuable he's going to be to them. But then the other good game that I got to see, Pep, on Sunday was Denver Nuggets and OKC Thunder.
I missed all of that.
Man, it was a really good game. You have number one versus number two. You have the MVP, top two MVP candidates going at each other. OKC, very loud, man, and it was a fun game. Jokic hurt his elbow. He played through it, but he didn't really shoot that well. Shea didn't really shoot that well either, but he got going in the fourth quarter, put his team on his back, and they ended up winning by 20. He had 40.
Oh, wow.
It's a statement game for him, I think, letting the world know that he is the front runner for the MVP, and I very rightfully so agree. Now, Pep, I had this conversation with somebody, and it does kind of suck. Nikola Jokic is having statistically his best season ever. He will be possibly the first player in NBA history to finish in top 3 in points, rebounds, and assists.
Wow.
But he's not going to win MVP. Now, you can say it's voters fatigue. We can say that, Shea's first on the best team in the NBA. Shea does have numbers. He's averaging 32, I think, like 5 and 6. Who is your MVP as of today?
Wow. Bro, I'm not as tuned in.
Jokic is averaging 29, 13, and 10 assists, I believe.
Man. And then SGA 32, right? You said
32, like 5 and 6.
Who else is somebody else is way up there in the points?
30-point wise?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else averaging 30?
Oh, well, close to it.
I'd have to do my research. You might be right, though.
Well, I just have to say, I don't know. To be honest, well, you got to give it to the guy who's got the best team with the best record. So you got to go with SGA.
Giannis is up there with 30.
Okay.
And he'll probably finish third. Yep.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, my thing is, it sucks because I think a little voters fatigue happens. Shea should have won it last year because I did my research. The year before last year, OKC finished in 10th. This year, or last year, they go 30 points a game. He puts his numbers up to 30 points a game, and they finish first. How is that not MVP?
Right.
But now, since you've given it to Jokic 4 out of the last 5 years,
well, he earned it.
Yes. No. Rightfully so. And if he does win it this year, that's why I said it sucks because out of every year, he's probably earned it the most this year.
Right.
But I do think I have no problem, and I do think Shea should win it because of what you just said.
Yeah.
First place, he has the numbers. His team is well beyond above everybody else's in the NBA. Besides the Cleveland.
Yeah. How far up are they?
They're probably like 10 games, and they're comfortably cruising.
So they're number 1 seed for sure.
Yes. So I agree with you. It should be them. Now back to the game. Like I said, Jokic did get hurt his elbow, but he did
12 games up.
Yep, 12 games up.
Man.
So he got hurt. Then the other game I got to see was the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks. The only reason why I bring up that game, Kyrie Irving was not, and that's because he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So it's just, Pep, we keep having these conversations over and over about
my guy
injury.
too.
I know, and he's finally got to dust the dirt off of his name. He's been playing really well. And then, people now make the excuse of, well, ever since Luka's been traded, he's now been playing close to 40 minutes a game.
Yeah, that's probably has a lot to do with it.
Okay. And I know Kyrie saw that, and he kind of took to note of it and was like, it was just a play that happened. He was like, we bumped knees, and my knee just went in a way that it wasn't supposed to go. But I do agree with you. I think it's a both for both. Your body is already you stay injured a lot already.
How old is he now?
He's 32, I believe.
Okay.
So he does have time to be able to recoup and come back. Now, the problem is, I don't know if I don't think AD will come back. They're pretty much playing for nothing at this point.
Yeah, they've been snake bit ever since that trade.
So, if you're the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, what are you telling GM? Is there pressure on GM Nico Mannion going into next year, knowing that you traded our superstar, and yes, we did agree to it. You brought in somebody who, two guys that are now injury prone, and Kyrie's not going to be back until around this time next year.
Yeah.
Are you putting pressure on Nico Mannion to go do something big now this offseason?
Well, yeah, maybe. It's hard to say because, look, you hired him.
Yeah.
So, how much pressure is he going to feel for real? I mean, yeah, he made some moves, and you signed off on him. So, you got to just let it play out, because now they're not, like you said, they're not going to have Kyrie until around February, March of next year. Who knows where they're going to be at by then, right?
Yep.
And then we're hearing rumblings that Clay might want out.
Yeah.
And so, it's going to be a tough summer to be a Maverick fan, and for Dallas in particular.
Now, the name that's going to pop up now, and it's the name that's been popping up for pretty much every team that's, maybe looking to take that next step or the missing piece. Kevin Durant, most likely to be available. If you're Dallas, though, are you willing to give up picks and possibly young players for another older player?
That's a great question. You might have to.
Okay.
You might not have a choice because you want to be relevant until Kyrie gets back.
Yeah.
And then if you still have Clay, and then of course AD should be back. You got to do what you can to make yourself still in the hunt.
Agree.
Because you didn't trade Luka to wait 2 years and reset.
Exactly.
That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So.
And it's almost with their trajectory, they kind of can't wait 2 years. I mean,
Right.
he will now be 34. Kyrie will be 34, 35. So
Now, is KD going to be a free agent or is he going to be?
he has 1 year left on his deal. But the notion has been that ever since.
Well, Phoenix knows they're not going to get a whole lot for him. So you could probably be able to get him and not have to give up the farm because if Phoenix is in the mode where they're trying to reconstruct, then you could probably get it done if you're smart.
And that's what's most likely going to happen, I think, with Phoenix. Even if I do possibly the 10 seed now because Dallas is, they're in a free fall. I don't know if they'll make it out the play-in, though. I don't see it.
Right.
But after that, you almost have to look for the last 3 years. It's just not working. And a move has to be made. But the tough decision is nobody wants Brad Beal. Of course, that's the first move you would want to make.
Yeah.
But nobody wants the salary and the no trade clause that comes with it. And he gets to ultimately choose. So your next piece that you possibly would move would be Kevin Durant. And that's something that they tried to almost do at the trade deadline. And Kevin Durant came out in public and said that he didn't want to go to the Warriors mid-season. So I do think that Kevin Durant will be on the move this offseason for the Phoenix Suns, and they're going to try to do their best to retool whatever they can around Devin Booker for the next couple of years. But it's a tough situation. But a team that's even in a worse or and tougher situation, in my opinion, is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Woo!
They just lost Tyrese Maxey to an injury. Paul George has been in and out the lineup. So this is another team who has 3 max.
And they're pretty much hamstrung. They might have to come up with the same lineup or same roster next season.
Yeah, they have no choice. I think they have no choice.
Yeah. And then you got to figure if Joel is not.
I don't think he'll be ready to start the season.
Then
surgery, I don't think he'll be ready.
Then they need to medically retire him. You know, I mean,
he's not going to play back-to-backs. All that.
No,
it's just not going to happen. So you're pretty much in your same predicament that you've been in for the last 4 or 5 years now. Though I don't see Paul George being able to play 65 plus games.
And you know what? I blame these GMs. For, you know, I've said this on Facebook on a couple of posts that I think this generation of GMs that we have in the NFL, in baseball, and less in baseball because actually there's some guys that are really pretty good. But especially in the NFL and NBA, we've got the silliest, dumbest GMs a collection of them that I've ever seen in my life of watching sports.
They appease so much to the players, and that's why it's like with Nico Mannion, it was a tough move to make, but I almost respect the kahunas he had on him to try to look down the road and see. I just don't think this guy Luka is going to be able to ever stay in great shape down the road.
But look how good he is, even
when
he's not in good shape. I mean, we can look at Jokic. Does he look like a specimen?
Nope. But that's why I said. That's why I didn't agree with the move.
These cats look like they just walked out of Applebee's.
Yeah.
Right, and then started playing hoop at LA Fitness. But they will destroy you.
I just wish the GMs looked beyond, just keeping a superstar around and do what's actually best for the franchise. That's what your job is.
Yeah, and then we got guys that look like Adonises that can't play. I mean, seriously.
Like John Morant.
Well, he can play, but, he
can't stay on the court, though.
Right.
Yeah. No,
I'm talking about some of these young studs that you see, man. It's like guys that can't shoot a lick.
Yep.
And they got like 2% body fat. They look great.
Yep.
But they suck.
Yep. And you actually made me want to get into my last point for today. Going back to that Celtics-Lakers game. So there was a clip at the end of the third quarter. Remember we talked about last week about Stephen A. Smith spoke on Bronny James, and he kind of brought in LeBron as a parent. He said, I'm pleading to you as a father, what you're doing is not right. And LeBron took that personally. He saw Stephen A. Smith in the third quarter, and he had some words for him and told him pretty much.
That was the wrong time to address that.
No, and I think he knew that. But I think just like Stephen A. Smith said, like fatherhood, dad mode got in.
He could have easily said, you know what, let me holler at me after the game. Come to the locker room.
There's professionalism.
But man, come on, man. But look, in defense of Stephen A., Bronny James is now a professional basketball player.
Yeah.
And he's open to criticism like anybody else. You don't have to like it. Then, that's just the way it is. If you're going to be in the business, then you're going to have to be in the business all the way. There's no sheltering or, for certain types. It's just not going to happen.
I think what Bron's issue was, I think when he spoke about the father, when he said, I'm pleading to you as a father, like with the decisions you're making as a father for him, I think that is what struck a chord with Bron. And on the other end, I can understand why Bron felt the way. And he said that to him when he got you. He said, I don't care whatever you want to say about me or like Bronny on the court. That's fine. But leave me as a father and my son out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect that. But I agree with you, too. Not the right time and place because cameras all over the place. And they're going to pick that up. And Stephen A. Smith got on his podcast and said, I wasn't going to speak on this. I didn't think anybody was going to catch it. Come on, bro. There's 18,000 people in this arena.
Right.
Half of them got phones out all the time. There's cameras all over the baseline. It was going to get caught. And it is, I think my point, you talking about, some of these young guys who are, not playing worth of anything. And we're talking about Bronny's draft class. And I get it, why the media aspect, why people do want to talk about him because of who he is the son to. But we talk about Alexander Sarr and the number one pick, Tissar out of Atlanta. We've talked about them a couple times out. They haven't done deadly squat.
Nothing.
In the NBA. Nothing. And I feel like, why is that not getting talked about?
Right.
Reed Shepherd, the number 3 pick, barely playing.
Because they're not somebody's father or son.
I know. But I think that's when it comes, like when we had this conversation is, I do feel like, that's why I appreciate us is we do our homework. The media and entertainment aspect has gotten so far gone in the sports world that they don't do the homework of talking about, rightfully so, the things that should be talked about over that stuff. So that's why it's like, I understand. That's why I said the top 3 picks from doing anything. That's something that should be discussed on these shows.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Stephon Castle and how well he's playing at San Antonio Spurs. But yes, rightfully so. Bronny James is the son of one of the best players to ever play in the NBA.
Right.
He had an unorthodox road of getting to the NBA. It's going to get spoken about.
Yep.
Now, good for him. He is playing very well in the G League, averaging about 20 points a game. But yes, there was a stint that he played his last NBA game. He got it early minutes against the Wizards, I think, and it was not a good game whatsoever. And it almost just reminded us, like, this guy's not ready for this yet. But I think what we all said, it's going to take some time. There has to be some a patient factor to it. But just like you said, though, the media and critics have a right to critique an NBA player.
Yeah.
So it was just unfortunate that it happened like that, just like you said, Pep. But we're in March, April. I just don't want that to be a topic of discussion right now, almost going into the playoffs. That's just how I feel about it.
Right. Stephen A., is he a father?
Yeah, and he said that. He said, I'm speaking to you as a father because I'm a dad.
Okay,
So
I wasn't
like,
sure.
wow.
Because I know he's not married.
Yeah.
But of course that don't mean anything.
Yep.
But I'm just saying I didn't know if he had kids. That's one thing I don't really follow too much about Stephen A. I don't know much about his personal life. I know his professional life as a newspaper guy, as a radio guy, because when I was living back east, Stephen A. Smith had a show on WFAN in New York that I used to listen to, starting at 10 a.m. And that's how he really started to get popular.
And then he was a Philly beat writer, right?
Yeah, he was a Philly beat writer because he's from that area, I believe.
New York.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's from New York.
East Coast, I got you.
Yeah, it's from New York, and then he moved down to Philly to be a beat writer in for the NBA, and then got a radio show. So he used to actually commute from Philly to New York to do the show.
And I respect his journey. I respect his career.
Yeah.
Definitely so.
And then he hooked on with ESPN, and he's taken off with his controversial takes. But he was the same way, folks, on the radio as he is right now. If you see when you see him on First Take, the way he would like yell and get animated, he was the same way back then. And then of course he preceded Mike and the Mad Dog. Everybody knows Mad Dog now, but before Mad Dog got famous on XM, Sirius XM, and now on ESPN as well, he was on the afternoon show. Him and Mike Francesa on WFA in New York, and they had the most popular show back east on sports show. They were number one, period. And so they were the show, and he preceded, and Stephen A. used to lead up to them. But you know, I don't know, Stephen A. I think I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to give some fatherly advice for LeBron, because he is older than LeBron. Yeah. So he was just trying to be kind of like a father figure advice on how to, you know, to what you're doing to your son or for your son that isn't actually good. And he was trying to make him see that as a father. And I think that LeBron probably took it to, don't tell me how to raise my kids or that and the other. And I get that. But I also understand that Stephen A. was just trying to look after him in that way. Yeah. And trying to help, trying not to hurt his legacy, because LeBron has a legacy. Yep. And obviously, and actually, you know, for all the hate that LeBron gets, LeBron's really a good guy. Yep. I mean, he's never been in trouble. Agree. Right? Yep. Yeah, he's done some controversial, questionable things as far as how he conducts himself, as far as, you know, I'm taking my talents to Miami and all that kind of silly stuff. But you can't say that he's not a good husband, father, businessman, and stays out of trouble. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't chastise his teammates publicly. None of that. So he doesn't do anything controversial. You don't hear nothing about side pieces. None of that. Nothing illegal. You know, he gets joked about as far as Diddy and all that's concerned. But, you know, hey, you set your own self up for that one. He's never been in life for anything negatively off the court. No. So, you know, if you want to hate him, you're going to hate him because people are trying to compare him and Jordan all the time. Yep. And, you know, okay, you know. I get tired of that, too. I get so tired of it. So tired of it. But to me, there is no comparison. It's Jordan. And I'm not mad at it. Yeah. I'm just tired of, and I get it because, you know, Bron is doing things again that we haven't seen before. So every time somebody does something of that stature, it goes straight to Jordan. Let's compare it to Jordan. I'm just so tired of, like, it'll always be, I don't think there will never be a definitive answer. I love the conversation. He's in the conversation for a reason, regardless. So, like I said, I just think he's answered the bill in every way possible. Oh yeah, yeah. So. I mean, look, you know, we're coming out of St. Joseph, St. Mary's in Cleveland, high school. I mean, when he was in high school, and if you project from 2002 to 2025, and you see where he's at now, that's a heck of a success. Yeah, there's zero failure, even though. Yeah, he hasn't won all the NBA championships he probably would like to, or a person of his great stature we would think would win, but he still won 4 of them. Yeah, exactly. He's still got 4 rings. And he's exceeded every high expectation for him ever since. Absolutely, by far. By far. I mean, as a number 1 overall pick, as a high school, everything, he's fulfilled all of that. Yep. And then some. Yep, agreed. So, you know. I just want, just like I think these guys said, I think we said it before, going into the playoffs, I want to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, OKC, and those top guys. I don't want to discuss Bron and MJ or Bronny. It should be about, rightfully so, what's going on the court right stuff now. Off the court. Yeah. But that's the NBA right now in a nutshell. I think we have about 3-4 weeks left in the season. The East is pretty much solidified. It's just all about just movement. The West is
because it can change by the day.
Yeah, except for the top.
Yep, that's it.
That ain't changing.
But 11 through 2, it's going to be all over the place, and nothing is solidified. And who knows where to see what? But OKC will be the number 1 seed going to the playoffs. And
hey, Daniel, can you put up the East? I want to see where those Pistons are right now. I'd like to
still playing good basketball. I got to watch them too. I was watching them play the Blazers.
Yeah,
those guys play hard.
I like that. Good.
And I do think 1 through 6 is solidified. I don't think the Hawks or the Magic will catch up.
Right.
It'll just be a bunch of movement from maybe the Bucks, Pacers, and Pistons. Oh man, maybe the Knicks too, because another injury. Jalen Brunson got hurt against the Lakers on Thursday. He sprained his ankle really bad. It's just really tough in today's era to just get through an 82-game season.
82.
And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's too much.
You knock it down to 75, 70 somewhere. I think.
I'm not mad at it,
but they don't want to.
No, they're not going to do
because money.
Losing money. Yeah, not gonna do it. And I know Nancy asked when is Seattle getting a franchise. The question is that's been the $1 million question for the last 7 years now. It feels like we're not getting any answer. It's in the dark.
Well, Adam Silver, he's nothing but Stern Jr. and and then of course Vegas. We know they're building an arena.
Yep.
But see, it's always one thing or another. First, is going to be the TV deal.
Yep.
First it was.
Well,
first you get an arena, then we'll think about it.
Yeah.
Well, they got an arena and a hockey team.
Yep.
Okay, so now what? Right? Then TV deals got to get done. Once TV goes, then we'll announce. TV deal's been done for a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it goes in effect next year.
Right.
Yeah.
It goes in effect, but it's been settled.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's not even we're in the dark. There's not even like you don't even see a light at the end of the tunnel yet with what's going on with expansion. I do believe it's going to happen. Nancy, I do believe it's going to happen. I just don't know when. I do believe it's going to be Vegas. I do believe it's going to be Seattle, and there's going to be some.
I'm more confident in Vegas than I am.
Oh yeah, me too. Vegas has definitely leapfrogged to.
It's 99.99 for Vegas, and I would say 75 for Seattle.
Yep.
I mean,
with this gambling stuff and how much money Vegas can be, and they've shown how much money can be brought in with how successful their professional teams are. It's not even close.
Yeah,
agree
for sure. So man, yeah. So, but Seattle, the Supersonics, as you see, my noggin. I'm still hoping.
Yeah.
I actually got this in Portland of all places.
Really?
Yeah, we went to the Saturday market down there on the waterfront, and saw a lady with some regular stuff, and then I saw the hat, and I said, "Wait, you don't have a Blazers hat?" And she said, "Oh no." I was like, wow. And she was from there.
When I went to that Blazers game, I mean, of course, it's Kevin Durant, but there was a lot of Sonics jerseys, a lot of Kevin Durant jerseys. A lot of people just talking really well about the Seattle Sonics.
Yes. When me and Doreen went a few years ago, we saw the Blazers and the Jazz, and there was quite a few Sonics.
That's dope.
And then, of course, last year when I saw the Suns play Toronto in Phoenix, I had my Sonic stuff on.
Yep, I remember you telling me that. Yep.
Several people was like giving me dap, and then other people had on their Sonic stuff. I was like, wow, okay.
I always respect the Portland Trailers. They'll always be near and dear to me.
Cool.
For their appreciation for the Sonics.
All right, so let's wrap this first half up.
What else are we talking about, Pep? Is there anything else going on? I know it's the off season.
Yeah, well, the second half of the show, I guess we'll get into some hockey maybe or some baseball. Yeah.
Baseball's
I don't know what else we can talk about, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.RainierAvenueRadio.world.
So my doctor told me to go online to check my test results, but I didn't know how to do that. Thankfully, I could turn a link to Care WA for help. With Link to Care WA, I was able to learn how to use online health portals, use telehealth to talk to my doctor virtually, and manage my prescriptions online. I called the hotline and spoke to a real person who taught me the skills I needed. Call Link to Care WA at 866-757-1832 or visit linktocarewa.org.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Neftali, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Come on, right?
1, 2, get down.
What's up, big and little homies? This is Masvita Maraire, host of Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio .world, your one-stop shop for Seattle sports. We cover preps, we cover college, we cover pro, we cover it all. Huskies, Mariners, Seahawks, Garfield, South, Roosevelt, Petro, King County. This is where you want to listen to for all the sports that's happening in Seattle. Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
How is the air quality in your neighborhood? Do you feel comfortable breathing the outdoor air? We want to hear from you. The Puget Sound Clean Air Agency is hosting a community workshop in King County to shape the comprehensive climate action plan. And your input matters. Share your concerns, ideas, and lived experience with air pollution in your community. No expertise needed, just your voice. Register now at pscleanair.gov/CPRG. Participants may be eligible for reimbursement for their time. Be part of the solution. See you there.
Ladies and gentlemen,
You ready for this?
this is Rainier Avenue Radio .world, the station that cares about our community. Yeah.
Yo, welcome back to the show. Second half of the show. Shout out Rhonda Dorsey, Nancy Conyers, Bill Walker Jr., my road dog MC, Michael Carter. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in and listening and chatting with us.
You know who else to give a shout out to?
Who?
Mike Bethea in the Rainier Beach.
Oh,
ranking.
yes.
Another gold ball added to his resume.
Yes.
Going into a new gym next year. But I wanted to shout out those kids over there and Mike Bethea and the whole coaching staff, man.
Yes, my sister's classmate.
Okay, really?
Franklin High School, 73. Yep.
Yeah, they deserve all the flowers for the season they had. One of the best seasons, I think, in a really long time over at Rainier Beach. So shout out to them. Shout out to all the state winners as well.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so the Kraken something. Yeah. No,
Julio hit 2 home runs in a string training.
Yeah,
but I think we're missing something.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Oh, you done?
Yeah. Well,
you done? No.
God.
Oh, the Seahawks.
Well, the NFL.
Oh,
Some
the
big
NFL.
signings in the NFL.
Yeah.
Man, Zach Wilson signed with the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
Man,
that was the biggest one off the board, huh?
So far.
Okay.
I know you guys are. Get on with it. All right. Yeah, so a lot of news happened this week in the NFL. I mean, a lot of
we got Pep Schefter here. He's gonna clear it up.
Pep Schefter. I like that. That's pretty cool. Man, Myles Garrett said, "You know what? I'll stay. 40 million per.
I'll stay too. For
yeah,
40 million.
Yeah. So Cleveland keeps their man. Plus, they made a trade today. They got Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. No, he was in Philly. I'm sorry. He's a Super Bowl champion, by the way. Kenny Pickett got traded to Cleveland for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and 5th round or some crap. Yeah, so Cleveland's finally got a quarterback, I guess. Who else? Oh, Justin Fields signed with the Jets.
Yep. What's the old Jets quarterback?
Sam Darnold?
No, Zach Wilson went to the Miami.
Yeah,
Dolphins.
we said that first.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Any other quarterbacks on the move?
Yeah, look, last Tuesday, the Seahawks let go Tyler Lockett, and folks went nuts. And it's like, come on now. The guy's been here 10 years, and he's been outstanding.
It's time.
Outstanding. The best way to describe Tyler Lockett for me was like a ballet dancer.
Uh-huh.
He was just beautiful to watch.
Yep.
Right. I mean, case in point, that catch he made against the LA Rams a few years ago on Monday night here in Seattle, that tiptoe on the sideline was a thing of beauty. I mean, Baryshnikov couldn't have done that any better. I mean, it was amazing the way he be able to keep himself in bounds and make that grab. And the fact that he runs his routes so precise and pretty, it's like by the time the ball gets to him, you know, and the cameras are following, you see that he's wide open. But if you pan out and watch the whole thing on how he gets open, it's just, man.
Yeah. Class act, Tyler Lockett, on and off the field.
I don't think he's done.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. So, you know, wherever he goes next, and I'm hoping it's the Raiders because I would like to see
him and Pete.
Yeah. I'd like to see that.
And, you know, just like you said, the Seahawks fan base lost it. We should be celebrating Tyler Lockett, like I said, because
well, the one thing that kind of ruined that day, as far as it should have been a whole day for Tyler, was the fact that DK said that he wants out.
Yep.
So that took center stage. That just pushed Tyler right off the stage there and pushed DK right in front and center in the bright light.
You think it got leaked from DK's people?
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. And it's smart, actually, on their part. So, you know, it might be ugly, it might be terrible, but that's the way business is done. Yep. So, then, you know, a couple of days after that, the Seahawks shocked everybody by trading Geno Smith to the Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick. And people, now, all season long, I've been hearing people, oh, we got to get rid of Geno, this, that, and the other. So they get rid of Geno, and now people are crying, well, you only got a third-round pick. Well, what did you think
you were getting for Geno?
He's 34.
That's a pretty good pick.
Are you kidding me? Deebo Samuel. Now, let's argue real quick. Is Deebo Samuel a better wide receiver than Geno Smith is a quarterback?
I believe so.
Okay. Deebo Samuel went to Washington for a 5th-round pick. That's the best San Francisco could get from him?
Yeah.
And I
was really shocked when I saw we got a 3rd-round pick for Geno.
Yeah. We fleeced them.
Yeah.
Pete was so happy to get him. He said, oh, yeah, we'll give you a 3rd-round pick. Because look at it this way, folks. Vegas 3rd-round draft picks are going to be high.
Yep.
The first round, they're number 6. Second round is going to be a high. 3rd round is going to be the high end. So a high-end 3rd-round pick is the same talent as a low-end 2nd-round pick.
Agree.
It ain't much difference. So you actually got good value.
I agree.
For Geno, probably better than what I would have thought they was going to get.
Me too.
I would have been happy for a 4th. But they got a 3rd? I was like, wow, okay.
Yep.
Now, when you get these picks, people are always happy about, oh, now we got this pick, that pick, this pick. Yes, but you got to be smart with these picks.
Yep.
You can't just throw away. You can't make experiments. If you're gonna get some of these picks and at the location that you get them, you got to make sure you get the value of that pick.
Agree.
For what you're giving up.
Agree.
Because we got a 2nd-round pick now for DK.
Yep.
He was traded today to the Steelers, my team, so I still get to root for DK. That's funny. I get to root for Russell twice. Now I get to root for DK twice. I can't lose.
He got paid, right?
Boy, did he get paid. Geno still hasn't gotten paid yet.
No.
But here's the thing about Geno, real quick. You know, Geno wanted 45 and up, north of 45. And it's not so much that he wants that money. He knew that Seahawks was not going to pay him.
Yeah.
He wanted out. That was his way of saying, I want out.
Yeah.
It was a different way, because remember when Russell wanted out, he tried to be dignified and all that. Geno did it a different way. He tried, he did it in the guise of negotiating.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about negotiating is you got to be able to acquiesce and then give and take.
Yep.
He did none of that. Anything that the Seahawks offered, he wasn't having it. That tells you he wanted out. But that's okay. All right, cool. Because
I'm glad.
Look, I'm not signing Geno for 45 plus.
No.
And Geno's not signing for the Raiders for that. Make no mistake, they're not giving him that.
Yeah.
He will be happy if the Raiders offer him the same thing the Seahawks did.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. He will sign. He's somewhere different.
Mm-hmm.
He's back with Pete. And, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he wants. He wanted to get out of here. He's been here too long. He's been through all the crap. I'm not sure how long he will. And as a matter of fact, DK actually threw shade at him before he got. Yeah, I forgot what he said, but he threw some shade.
Interesting.
So there definitely was something going on up here that Geno was like, look, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not mad at anybody. Not mad at the Seahawks wouldn't give him north of 45. And I'm mad that Geno wanted out and this was his way to get out. And that's fine because I think the Seahawks probably wanted to get they definitely wanted to go in a new direction at quarterback anyway.
Yeah.
So that's that. And DK was traded today.
Yeah.
Like I said, for a second round pick. Of course, at first they were asking for first and third, but you always ask high.
Yep.
And settle for somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They got DK out of here and they got a second round pick. Now it's not an early second round because Pittsburgh was pretty decent. So it's gonna be late in the round, but so what? You got multiple second round picks now. So you can get some talent in the second round and down in the third round.
Yep.
So you can build something.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what you're gonna where you're gonna go with it. You just got to make sure you make wise decisions because it makes no sense to trade back like they used to and do all these picks, get all these picks, and then you make bad picks.
Yep.
So we all know they need offensive linemen.
Yep.
We all know they need help on the defense still, right? Even though thank goodness they signed Ernest Jones.
Yep.
They re-signed Deron Reed, so thank goodness. And then they signed Josh Jobe, the best cornerback they had this past season, and he came in the middle of the season. Go figure.
Do you think now with all the movement, and then I guess if you want to get into the last move the Seahawks made today, they signed Sam Darnold.
Yes.
So the quarterback situation is filled. Where do you see the Seahawks leaning with their first round draft pick? Our receiver, defense.
I've said this 100 times, when they pick at 18, you have to figure out for the position that you need, and there's several, so it's not just one position. So of the several positions that you need, like on defensive line, offensive front, whatever, the best player, whoever plays in that position, whether it's the offensive line or defensive line, that's the player you pick. You don't mess around and say, well, the best player is the defensive guy, but we really need an offensive lineman, so we'll take him. Yeah. No, that's not how it works. You pick the best player. And then when you go down, when you draft next, then you're trying to find the best offensive line or help of greater need. That's how you make your picks.
How do you feel about Sam Darnold now being QB1 for the Seattle Seahawks?
I already knew. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I think you brought that up last Monday.
I just knew in my head that's who they were going to get. I mean, I don't understand why folks are super excited. I get the fact that he had a phenomenal season. But let's remember, folks, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison aren't coming with it.
Nope, you're right.
They're the best duo in the NFL, not named Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can argue between those two. Argue with your mama, not with me. Because those two are the best duos. And so none of them are coming here.
Yeah.
So yes, Jackson Smith in Jigba is nice. We know he is. But now there's no DK for double team. And then Tyler's not there to get the first downs or whatever in situations. And then look, if people think Jake Bobo's now going to step up and be the guy, I got news for you. Jake Bobo's a nice guy, nice receiver, but he's a situational receiver. He's the guy you bring in when you're third and long and you need a guy to get open so you can get the first down or close to it, right? We're talking field position, okay? He's not a guy that's going to be opposite JSN and work the other side and do some damage. That's not his game.
So with that being said, do you possibly now there's a name that's possibly going to be out there, it sounds like
Cooper
Kupp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There's Cooper Kupp, there's Amari Cooper out there, there's Stephon Diggs. You better bring somebody's in.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. Now, look, Cooper Kupp's a little fragile, but he could be like Tyler was here. I mean, he's that kind of guy now. He's not going to be your guy that he's not going to get you 10, 11 catches. That's what we got JSN for. Cooper Kupp can give you 5 or 6 catches, get you some first downs, and get open. That's what we need. And then we do need another guy to help JSN. Like I said, like some couple of names. Devontae Adams went to the Rams.
Yep.
So cancel that. Braxton Berrios went to Texans from Miami. But there's guys out there. So you just got to pick wisely. And of course, there's kids in the draft.
Yep.
I like Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado. That's good. He doesn't get any mention because of Travis and Shadur. But Jimmy Horn Jr. is a baller. So, I would not mind if the Seahawks take a flyer on him.
Second round?
Yeah, or third.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, of course, there's Luther Burden, the third. That's pretty good. So there's some guys out there. There's a good wide receiving core that's out there. It's probably better than the quarterback core. But the multiple picks they have in the second round or third round, they could probably maybe get Jackson Dart from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Or,
I keep hearing that name connected to the Seahawks.
Or there's some, or maybe even Milrow if he falls down there. So that's something to look into because you got 2 Sams, so they're probably going to need a third guy, probably a young guy to hold the clipboard and learn. So yeah, absolutely.
It's been a while. I mean, I know we had the Russell Wilson saga and that happened.
Well, he's on his own saga now.
Yeah,
because now he's at a point where he might not have there might not be a team
starting job for him.
Because like I said, Justin Fields is in New York now because he didn't like the way Pittsburgh was humming and hawing, even though they liked him actually better than Russell, but they keep throwing Aaron Rodgers' name out there, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll make it easy for you. I'll just go to the Jets, and you can get Aaron Rodgers if you want to."
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it at all. But I'm not mad at Justin Fields. I hope he balls out for the Jets.
Yeah.
I hope he finally finds his niche and balls out. I mean, because for him and the Jets, because I'm tired of the Jets being terrible.
Yeah.
And they just can't get a break ever. I mean, it don't make any sense.
All those weapons and what they put in place for last year to be a disaster.
The only reason why I have a soft spot for them is because I lived there for years.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you live in an area and you kind of follow the home teams, you kind of have an affection for them.
Yep.
And I know I don't want Michael to be mad at me because I know he hates the Jets because he's a Dolphins fan. So I definitely root for the Dolphins over the Jets, but I just don't want the Jets to be terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those storied franchises as well. They're one of the bigger franchises in the NFL. Like, you want the Jets to be good.
They have to be because they're New York. You want New York, LA, number 1 and 2 to be good.
Yep.
And then of course it always helps if Chicago's good.
Yep.
So and then after that, everything else is a crapshoot.
Yep.
So yeah. But so it looks like Pittsburgh's probably gonna have to settle for Aaron Rodgers if the Giants don't snatch him up.
So what's open? Who has a need at quarterback?
Well, Minnesota
Steelers?
does.
Oh, Minnesota.
They've got, they're talking. They got J.J. McCarthy now, but he's coming back from ACL.
I think he will be QB1.
And then, of course, they have Daniel Jones there. I think. So, I mean, that story in and of itself is crazy. The Titans. Who do they have at quarterback?
Well, Will Levis.
Okay.
Well, I guess that answers the question.
Yeah. All right.
But are they in any contention of maybe trying to take this step, or are they just gonna maybe try to develop Will Levis?
Yeah, they got no choice now.
Okay.
They got no choice. Who else they gonna bring in? Yeah. That's it. He's got Will or nothing.
So possibly maybe Russell Wilson and the Giants is a possibility.
That if the Steelers don't pull the trigger on Aaron Rodgers, then that's his only spot.
Man, I mean, unless a miracle happens, I would just hate that for Russ Wilson because he spent so much time.
If I were the Giants, I would call New England and says, "What do you want for Joe Milton?"
Okay.
He's young. He can light it up.
Yeah, why did the Giants, I'm hearing that they want a veteran quarterback.
And man, who knows?
Okay.
I don't know.
Are they? They're not.
They need any and everything.
Okay.
They got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But man, I'm surprised the coach is still there. But they said, "Nope, we're keeping you, buddy. You're gonna suffer through this." It's almost like punishment. All right, I know I'm fired. Oh no, we brought you in because you're staying. That's why I want to talk to you. You're staying. You ain't going nowhere. Keep that playbook hot.
Saquon Barkley got record money from the running back position.
Good for him.
So glad for that need to happen. I'm glad he got to reset the market. I'm glad he got.
But Philly's lost a lot of players already.
Yeah.
Darius Slay's now in Pittsburgh.
Yep. Good pickup for you guys.
Yep. I'm happy with that. But I said it, in the playoffs. I said, look, Philly has to win because they're going to lose a lot of guys this season. So next year is going to be tough for them to make it back.
Okay. Do you still think they'll still be contending?
Yeah, they'll be a playoff team, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Jalen, Saquon, AJ, Devontae Smith. So yeah, they still got a formidable team, but they made some changes, losing some key players, and that's just what happens. Life in heavy's the head that wears the crown.
Yep. Now we talk about all these teams being aggressive and making moves. America's team, nothing. I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Been pretty mum. No real moves have been made. I know there's Jerry Jones seems like he is going to be conservative in free agency. How do you feel about that?
I feel great because as long as they don't do nothing, I'm happy. I don't want them to be successful. It's not so much now that Dallas is, the fan base is so obnoxious, and they are. But it's more the fact that I'm just sick of Jerry Jones.
Why
he's so stubborn? If they had a different owner and or different GM philosophy and stuff, yeah, I can hate him, but I could respect him. But now I don't even respect him.
Yeah,
because look, they haven't done anything since the 90s. I mean, come on, they're not even relevant.
It's almost like Jerry Jones is okay with just the value of the team, and he's just bringing in money.
Yeah, and the fact is, as long as he's the owner and alive, that he's going to be the GM is just asinine to me.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
because the fact of the matter is when who's their quarterback? No, the one that finished the season, because Dak sure did.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, but anyway, he had an incentive in his contract, and he didn't reach it, and because he got pulled out or something.
Oh man!
And then Jerry Jones said, "Oh, I didn't know that was in his contract." It's like, dude, you negotiated his contract. What are you talking about? That tells me right there he's not in touch.
That's unfortunate.
That's ridiculous.
I just wouldn't want to play. I wouldn't want to play for him.
Yeah, Dallas is not the prestige wannabe go-to place anymore.
Getting into this NFL world, in baseball, NBA, those attractive places, stay attractive.
The places. Baseball is Yankees, Dodgers.
Yep.
Red Sox.
Yep. And in basketball, it's the LA Lakers, the Celtics. Guys want to go there, but nobody wants to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Aren't a name that pops up when somebody is a free agent or somebody asks for a trade. And I always thought that's the Dallas Cowboys were players, but they're not. And I see that now, and I couldn't believe that Dak Prescott said with a straight face after the season that they're going to come back and they're going to contend and compete. And and I know he's supposed to say that, but goodness gracious, he didn't even sound confident even saying it, though.
Right. Yeah, he's into the Jerry Jones Kool-Aid, but he's a company man.
Yeah,
that's what he is.
That's what
he's a company man, and they're paying him godly amounts of money. So I guess I'd be a company man too.
Yep.
You pay me $60 million per year, I will say whatever it is you want me to say, and I'll say it with a straight face and do my doggonest to make you believe it. Now, if we sitting in the car, I'll tell you, oh man, that was some BS I just said, wasn't it? Man, but in front of ESPN and all the cameras, I'll say what you want me to say.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we have the NFL draft is in
end of April 27th or somewhere thereabouts in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Next year it's in Pittsburgh, and I mentioned I think I'm going to try and go.
You said that we should try to get out there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be down.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, that's those type of events, like those are once in a lifetime experiences.
Heck yeah!
I see how much the NFL puts behind their draft. That would be super fun to go to. I'm down.
And you'll see what a real football city's like. This little Pacific Northwest quiet. Yeah.
They I will say they love their Seahawks out
there. They sure do.
They do.
I mean, like I went down to Portland, right? I didn't see no Blazers.
Nope. Yeah, you see a lot of Seahawks stuff out there too. A lot of Seahawks fans out there.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't see Blazer banners or none of that.
Yeah.
That's the only team. Well, unless you want to talk about the MLS.
Timbers.
Yeah. And there was definitely nothing on that.
But if you ask me, I feel like probably Oregon Athletics is probably bigger than anything out there.
Right.
Yeah.
UO. Yeah. You see UO stuff.
Yep.
Pretty
You see
much.
that all over the
But
place.
yeah, you don't see Blazer stuff. And then when I was down in Phoenix, I didn't see a whole lot of Cardinal stuff.
Really?
No.
I guess not.
Not a whole lot.
I really don't either.
You see more Suns.
Yeah.
And maybe even
you see little Diamondback stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say little D-backs, but
you make a good point. You really don't see.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because I do follow Phoenix fan base, you don't really see the same energy you get out of the Diamondbacks or the Suns.
No.
You don't really see them behind.
Nope. I gotta admit, Seattle football,
like that.
Seahawks, these people, man,
die hard.
I mean, you at the airport, you see 12.
Yep.
Big 12s and the beak and all that stuff. But yeah, you go anywhere else, it is not as advertised like it is up here. So I will give us credit up here.
Yeah.
For that. But good show. I want to thank everybody, Nancy, Bill, the usual suspects, Rhonda, Daniel, MC, my road dog.
Oh.
And then my girl Doreen, she's in Taiwan right now.
Wow.
Doing a tour.
Cool.
So yeah.
Take some pics, please.
Yeah, take lots of pics. So yeah. So until next week, folks.
Fastest sports hour in the world.
Yeah. Rainier Avenue Radio. Let's